Now, let's turn our attention to to this drama unfolding in and around the Colo River this afternoon. Much of this area is unreachable by car. Evacuations have been called off due to dangerous floodwaters. And as Nine's senior reporter Damien Ryan told me earlier in the program, an evacuation boat suddenly capsized this afternoon with a young family of 4 aboard. Fortunately, they're all wearing life jackets and they are okay, as is the rescuer who's just got minor injuries. Robin Preston is the local Liberal MP for Hawkesbury, which takes in everywhere from Colo, Windsor, Richmond, Wiseman's Ferry. It's a very significant area and all being heavily affected by the floods. And she joins me live on the line. Robin, thanks for joining us on Drive.
Thanks, Jim.
So what's the latest? In particular with Colo, we heard about that fairly dramatic rescue a short time ago. How's the community in Colo doing?
Look, not too bad. I've just been keeping an eye on it there. Our crews have been out there, the SES crews have been out there since 6:30 this morning. And because the conditions weren't favourable for the helicopter rescue, they decided to do boats. They have, as you said, there was a family of 4 and that had a difficult time in the water. They're safe, they're well, thank goodness, and they were wearing life jackets. So they're okay. But we have checked on all the residents in that area by boat, door knocking by boat, I suppose you would say, and things are stable at the moment.
That's good. So those that haven't been evacuated are all safe at this point of time?
Yes.
Okay. Now, we're hearing supermarket shelves in many flood-affected areas have been stripped bare, the Coles in North Richmond being one. Are you hearing any similar stories in other areas?
Look, it sounds like COVID all over again with the toilet paper roll. People chasing that. But look, it's true. We've got our priority is to get essential food and supplies over there. We've got young mums who need baby formula, nappies, essential things like bread, milk, medical supplies. There we have prescription drugs coming over to the chemists. And vet supplies also, because there's a vet over at Wilberforce that's looking after any rescued creatures. So those supplies are being taken over by boat. Now, we've got a huge truck from Coles from on the Windsor side, which is going across in boats across to Wilberforce, and then we're taking it up to North Richmond. So that's actually being addressed as we speak. Also, the community centre at North Richmond and the salvos are helping out. So if people need those essential supplies, I would suggest they go there if they're not on the shelf. Because we want to make sure people are looked after. We've got over 30,000 people on that side of the river that will need help, and it's probably another 4 days before we have the flood abating and the opportunity to maybe cross the river back over to the Richmond side.
Okay, so they face a tough few days in those communities. We're also hearing of a group of 40 residents in Gronos Point who are trying to do a bulk order of food, but the SES have said they'll only be able to do individual deliveries. Wouldn't it make more sense, for the SES to do one boat trip with all the supplies rather than 40 boat trips?
Look, sounds like the right way to go. See, what happens is people ring their order through on the 132500 number. That's the emergency line. Now, that's handled in the headquarters. I've had a talk to the Hawkesbury SES unit. They are going to liaise with the headquarters and see if they can bring it together in bulk, because it would make more sense for that to happen. So I'll be plugging into that situation straight after this call.
Well, that's good to hear. Now, what about the residents of the McDonnell Valley who've been cut off from the rest of Sydney? Some people are running out of power. What do you say to them?
Look, we're plugged in with the SES, and I'm getting advice from Carleen York. She's the New South Wales Commissioner for the SES as well on what to do immediately on there. At the end of the day, there's a loss of power as well. There's a loss of access. Some people that are out that way understand the remoteness of where they live, but if you've got medical emergencies, we still need to be able to get in touch with people. So I'm talking to the SES on how we address that as well.
Now, we just spoke to Lisa, who's a resident in Windsor, who's lost her pride and joy, or basically her house has been severely damaged by floodwaters in Windsor. And she says the clean-up process is crucial to get the mud out of the homes once the clean-up begins. You're the MP for the area, for the Hawkesbury. Are you speaking with the Resilience Commissioner and also now with the Deputy Premier, John Barilaro, who's been charged with the rescue and the clean-up sort of operation to oversee it? Are you in close contact with them, and are you confident that the clean-up process will begin sooner rather than later?
Look, and we move from the responsive rescue stage back to managing an isolated community and people in need. Absolutely, and I think we've got two of the best people to handle that with the Commissioner, Shane Fitzsimmons. I was on the phone to him only an hour ago, and also the Deputy Premier, who's had that massive experience with the bushfires as well. So this will be a clean-up mode. There's a lot of work to be done. I mean, once the water subsides, it's quite tragic and serious damage to people's homes, and I'll be working closely with ministers and the Commissioner on making sure we get outcomes for these people.
So that should happen sooner rather than later for
Very
concern.
much so.
That's good to hear, especially, as I said, it's crucial with the mud in the homes and whatever else to get that process underway. Robin, thank you for your time this afternoon.
Thanks, Jim. Good to talk with you.
Good on you. That's the Liberal MP for Hawkesbury, Robin Preston. MP